Austintown sports fans, and welcome to Tiger Stadium in Massillon, Ohio, for tonight's football game between the Massillon Tigers and our Fitch Falcons. And when I say hi up over the Tiger Stadium, ladies and gentlemen, I mean hi. We were here 2 years ago, and I just did not remember just how high we are. This is your announcer, Kent Greno, trying to do the play-by-play with a rather hoarse throat. And with me again this week is our color commentator, John Rourke. John, are you getting nosebleeds up here?
Well, I tell you what, Ken, if either one of us had a better memory, we wouldn't be here tonight. Because I forgot, too, how high this was, and this thing shakes every once in a while, and I just don't feel real comfortable. So if our voices quiver every once in a while, you know why. It's because we might think or feel like we're tumbling over.
Well, John, the one thing is we heard that the weather was going to be terrible, that it was going to rain and almost snow, and yet it seems to be a beautiful night, and the field looks outstanding.
Yeah, the field's in great shape, and of course there's very little wind. The temperature is ideal. You know, it's a rather cool evening, but you know that's football weather. And just looking up at the sky, I don't know, I've seen the moon out every once in a while, so I don't think we're going to have that snow, hopefully, that they forecasted and predicted.
Well, they tossed the coin to begin the game. We are going to kick off. They're going to receive the ball. Let's take a timeout right now for our national anthem, played by the Tiger Marching Band.
We're scared. That's okay, so you thought I was going to leave it.
You know, John, it's not only us that are afraid. They shot off the fireworks here, and a few of the people were ducking.
Well, the sad thing is that we're up higher than the fireworks. We're looking down at the fireworks as they go off.
What kind of offense are we going to face today, John?
Well, just watching them warm up, I think we're going to see a lot of the pro-eye, probably similar to what we've seen from Glenville, and I was kind of surprised. You know, most of the plays that they were trying to time up were pass patterns. They were throwing the ball quite a bit. So, you know, we have been impressed with the first 4 ball games with our defense, so maybe they feel that, you know, they might not be able to establish a real good ground game against us, so they might just come out throwing the ball right off the bat and try and loosen us up.
I would say, looking at the players at ground level, that neither team has an advantage in height or weight or anything of this sort. They have an excellent quarterback in this Eric White, who's not afraid to throw the ball from anywhere. They have two good running backs, Jerome Myrick, who's their tailback, who's a very speedy runner, and Vernon Riley, who is not a big person. He's 211 pounds, but he does run fast. We looked at our Falcons. We're coming in with a 2-2 record against the Tigers, who have a 3-1 record. They lost their first game to Akron Garfield, but last week it looked like our offense, actually against maybe not a super tough foe, but our offense started to gel.
Yeah, Ken, what we did last week that obviously we didn't do in the 2 previous weeks, we put the ball in the end zone. You know, we moved the ball quite well against especially Mooney, you know, who always traditionally has a great defensive football team, but we just got inside the 5-yard line, and we just couldn't come up with that big play to put the ball in the end zone, but we did move the ball quite well. Last week, as you point out, it wasn't probably the caliber of football team that Mooney is, but still, the kids, I think, have probably now got some confidence. You know, they've established themselves offensively, and just I think what we need going into a football game like tonight.
Well, let me set our defense for you, because they'll be the first ones out on the field. The outside linebackers are senior Ronnie Strollo and Eric McMahon, who's also a senior. Damian Villock, Rich DeChalk, and Dave Cooper with John Polish will take turns at the tackle position. Bill Davis is our nose man. Bill is also one of the co-captains here this evening. Don Hauser, Devin Fitzpatrick will be the inside linebackers. Mike Starry will be at his free safety position, as well as playing tailback. Then at strong safety will be Scott Lawrence, and Joe Dolak will be coming in. At defensive half, we'll see Derek Fletcher, and periodically Doug Wilhelm will be coming in also. Our kicker, kicking off, we expect to see Larry Bucciarelli, who has been doing the kickoffs, and once again we went back to the squib kick rather than the distance kick, and Larry's done an excellent job. On offense, the quarterback this week again will be Derek Fletcher, and behind him will be Mike Starry and Keith Motter, and John Kowalczyk will be coming in both on offense and defense. Rich Turner, who has been the productive scorer of our Falcon football team, will be at his wingback position. Rob Tofield and Tom Brazier will be our split ends. Ronnie Strollo holding down that tight end spot. The tackles will be Tom Barfine and Damian Billock, and Dave Coop will be coming in. The guards will be Dan Black and Devin Fitzpatrick. Rich Remius will be coming in also. And our center will be John Dorenzo, and Frank Rich periodically will be coming in. This is the big game. We had a big question mark about the Falcons. It looked like we were going to have a good team and a good season, and this game may be the indication as to whether the season is going to progress in a positive nature or it will run into another big snag. And last 2 weeks ago against the Mooney Cardinals, we went to a 2-platoon system rather than having the boys play constantly both ways and tiring them out. The coach decided to have basically two full teams. And then we went to a different offense. Not anything really different, but different personnel. And it paid off, and we had 2 weeks now to practice it, and today will be the big test. And they're coming to get us again, John.
Yeah, here they come. Yeah, you're right, Kenny. There's only one other game, I would say, this year on their schedule that they would much rather have than this one, and obviously that's Ken McKinley. But believe me, they're really pointing to this one, because I think you have a statistic over there which states that we are the only team in the history of Massillon football that they have played more than one time and they haven't beaten. We've beaten them the only 2 times that we played them, and everybody else, if they've played more than once, they've beaten them at least once. So I tell you what, we get down to the last quarter there with a couple of minutes left in the ball game and we're winning the football game, don't be surprised if that tiger doesn't come out of that cage down there. I think they're going to do just about anything they can tonight to come out on top on the scoreboard, so should be a heck of a football game.
And there is a real tiger out here. There's a lot of red and blue across the field with us, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of orange and black around here.
There's quite a bit of orange and black.
The teams are both out on the field, getting ready to begin this game. This is not normal weather for a Massillon and Fitch High game. It's not raining. I better shut up.
The evening is young. But you pointed out the fact, how important this game is, Kenny. I guess when you reach, this part of our schedule, it's really, I guess you might say, the meat of the schedule. Every game is like a season. Because we got to play Massillon, then we got to play Urson, and of course Boardman, and every week it's going to be a war, and but obviously we're going to have to play one game at a time, 1 week at a time.
There's no breathers on the schedule from now on. War and Western Reserve may be the weakest out of the rest of the teams, but they're not weak. Okay, getting ready to tee up the ball for the Falcons is Larry Butcherelli. And back deep to receive the kickoff for the Tigers is Jerome Myrex.
And hopefully, Ken, we can get a little more height and distance. We've had a problem here lately. We're kicking the ball low, and it's not getting very far down the football field either. And people up around the 30-yard line are fielding it, and obviously they're going to end up somewhere between there and the 50, and that's not where you want the opposition to start their offense from.
Well, let's see if he squibs it again this week. It is. It's the Lion Drive squib. The ball is bouncing. Picked up by Myrex on the 6-yard line. He stopped, bringing it back to about the 24-yard line. What do we have there? Number 42 is John Kowalczyk. John came down from the right side and made a good stick. A lot of other Falcons were on it, but at first and 10 for the Tigers. The ball on the 23-yard line.
That's a part of our team, Kenny, has done quite well. We've had special teams have really performed well all year for us up to this point.
Right off the bat, White is going to pass. They gave him a little bit too much time. He waited for Jerome Myrex to get in the clear. He picks up about 9 yards, so they give him a first down. The stop was made by Rich Turner.
Yeah, we did
a lot of time to throw that ball.
Good job with the coverage, but we got to get a little more pressure on him because, the ability that he has, we can't afford to let him sit back there that long.
And the pitch is to Myrex. He's coming to the right side. And great pursuit by the Falcons. Holds it to no gain, maybe a slight loss. Roddy Strollo was in there. And Rich Duchalk.
I think Derek Fletcher also, Ken, was in there, number 9. Our outside people did an excellent job there because they got a little bit of penetration, but the thing they did quite well was really string the play out and give our pursuit time to get to the football.
They're going to a pro set. White's going back, passes it over, and it's incomplete. And Derek Fletcher covering for the Falcons. It was just a quick pitch out to his wide receiver, and it was a little over his head.
I know the coaches that I talked to pointed this out during the weekend, the fact that they have a lot of confidence in his arm because there you see again he's on the right hash, and they're not afraid to throw that little out or curl up, about 5 or 10 yards down the field, but all the way across the field. That's a dangerous pass. If you don't have a real strong arm, you just hang that ball up there. That could be 6 the other way.
The other way, right? There was a wide open space there. They're in a straight eye this time. There's another fake. It's going to be a long pass, a fly pattern, and he drops it. And he was open. The ball was given right to him. It was to number 10. That's Kessler. And Kessler simply dropped the ball. He was open.
Well thrown ball, and again, that's something that you can't let happen. Is those wideouts beat your defensive backs like that because he catches that ball and it's a foot race to the goal line.
Kessler is going to punt now. Chucky Wilson's back to receive the punt. He punts it from the 32. Oh, and Fletcher touched it, and we got it back. He touched the ball, but he crawled up and grabbed that ball. Very alert play.
We can't officiate, Ken, but it's obvious that you have to give the receiver room to catch the football. And obviously he was bumped before he caught it, and
well, we are in Tiger Stadium.
And the receiver was obviously hit before he caught the ball, and that's that should be a flag.
And back to the pass. And once again, we're going back to the fly. And Rich Turner intercepts back on the 7-yard line. Rich Turner just became a receiver on that play. Followed the ball all the way into his hands.
That was a little better defense that time because that again was a well-thrown ball. He probably could have thrown a little bit beyond the receiver, but it still doesn't justify what happened here a minute ago, Ken. I'm not going to harp on that. Right, this is to them just like a punt. And now they got us back on our own 5-yard line instead of out on the 40. So let's see what we can do here offensively to get out of this hole.
The ball goes to Mike Starry. He picks up about a 2-yard gain and stopped by the right linebacker, Siegenthaler, as he tried to turn upfield. It's a pickup of 2 yards.
Yeah, not a bad job really up front there. You know, we had a decent hole there. Mike, I think, would have cut it back inside, which he normally does. He likes to cut back against the grain there. I think he'd have picked up considerably more yardage, but Mike chose again to bounce it outside.
Rob Tofil's wide to the right. Keith Motter behind Derek Fletcher. And Keith Motter keeps the ball, and he fooled me on that fake. He came right up the middle.
Again, Keith there, you know, which he's had a little bit of a problem with so far this year. He's running, I think, a little bit with his head down there. If he just, again, maybe feel his way a little bit more there, he would have been able to bounce outside and I think still be running right now. We had a gigantic hole that time.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe that was the hole. The Falcon line is doing a super job.
Yeah, they executed those 2 plays there quite well, Ken. We did a nice job on the line of scrimmage.
Tom Gutierrez, distance as a flag. The Falcons are plotting, so they believe that there was encroachment by the Tigers.
Yeah, the nose man there made contact with the helmet, and that one...
And it was.
It was
and that could be very close to a first down. In actuality, I can't believe it isn't a first down. It has to be. Okay, it is a first down. Falcons have the ball now on the 16-yard line. We're at 8:46 mark of the first quarter. Derek Fletcher with Mike Starry and Keith Motter behind him. Tom Viter is wide to the right. Turner's in motion. The ball's given to Keith Motter. He tries the right side and is stopped by
number 35.
Wigley and Tetzel. The inside lineman stopped him. He picked up 4, and we're getting good blocking.
Yeah, we're kind of controlling the line of scrimmage there. You can see up and down the line there's a lot of gaps and holes. There's a lot of running room, so maybe we could sustain a drive here, Kenny, and get some better field position to throw the ball.
Mark Starry goes to the right side. Derek Fletcher holds on to the ball. He's in the clear. He tries to cut back, but he does pick up about 10 yards and a first down. He turned to the right instead of to the left where it was a little bit more open, but we'll take it. 10-yard pickup and a first down. First and 10 for the Falcons on the 30-yard line.
And well, of course, last year the field conditions were so bad we, had neither team had a chance to move the ball. But the year before, Kenny, we were down here. We are starting out like we did then. Having not too many problems moving the football on the ground, especially.
Strong side to the right. We get the reverse. Rich Turner, he's in the clear again. He'll pick up close to a first down. He's about a yard short of the first down. And that reverse, we were mentioning before the fact that most of the time that's a trick play used once, maybe at the most twice a game. To us, that's probably our most productive play.
Yeah, the reason why that goes, Kenny, is we're going left and right, especially off tackle, and then we're going up the gut. And thing is, we're having some success 3 and 4 yards a crack. Now we get that defense, over pursuing and trying to get to that off tackle hole, and before you know it, now we're coming back, against that pursuit or grain, and it kind of catches them by surprise.
Mike Starry to the right. Keith Martin behind Derek Fletcher. Derek Fletcher's back to pass. He rifles it up. It's up in the air for grabs. And it's intercepted. And I would say that somebody should, they pulled the Rich Turner went up for the ball and was grabbed, pulled down, and caught. And then the fellow who pulled him down intercepted the ball.
Yeah, you can go for the football, but you have to keep your hands to yourself. Well, again, we're back on defense, and hopefully here, you know, we can keep the old momentum on our side. We had something going there offensively, and of course, you know, now with a turnover here, they got changes the complexion a little bit.
The pitch is to Myrick. He's in the clear, and a nice open field tackle by Derek Fletcher.
That's an outstanding play there, Kenny, because you had him, you know, a quick back one-on-one in the open field, and Derek doesn't get him. I tell you what, he may have gone all the way.
There was no one else behind him. It's a pickup of a little over 2 yards. The ball's on the 48-yard line. By the way, on that pass play, Rich Turner really did have the position there. That's the fullback Riley, who goes for a first down. He snuck through a hole right over his center.
Yeah, they got some pretty big splits, Kenny, up front there, which, you know, naturally creates some natural or automatic holes even before the ball snaps. So they try to spread us out defensively and, again, get a little bit more running room up inside there.
Well, they're in the Falcon territory on the 44. And it's the pitch to number 1, Myrick, and he's stopped by Cooper.
That's quite obvious, I think, what they're going to do, Kenny, what kind of offense they run. They got, you know, pretty good tailback there with some speed, and it's just going to be pitch right, pitch left, you know, some sweeps, and then every once in a while, I guess, they throw the football, but nothing fancy yet, and they're just going to come right at us, and usually we play pretty good, or pretty well against football teams like this, you know, where we know where the football's at, and we just go get it.
That's all it is, a step back and a pitch right, pitch left. Myrick and Riley behind White. White gives it to Myrick. He's stopped first by,
I think, Ron Strollo.
Fitzpatrick.
Ronnie
Strollo and Don Hiles are in there. It's now third down and about 4 yards.
Yeah, we're doing a good job, especially up front, getting off blocks and getting to the football. You know, it's not, with the exception of the play Derek Fletcher made, you know, the other defensive efforts have been by maybe 3 and 4 guys every time, Kenny, which is a good sign. We're getting a lot of people to the football.
York is wide, and there goes White back to pass. He gets out of the pocket, heading for the first down mark. He gets the first down. He's stopped by Joe Dolak and Devin Fitzpatrick, but not until he got the first down. They had him contained for a while, and they let him out.
Yeah, we just up inside there, Ken. We got our inside people got out of their lanes in there, and he found a little opening, and of course they were running a lot of deep routes, and he was able to pick up the necessary yardage for the first down.
We're going to have to start doing what we did against Cleveland and bring one of those linebackers in periodically. And it's a pitch to Myrick. He's trying to come outside. He looks like he's contained. He's hit from the back by Dave Cooper. But on the play, he picks up about 4 yards.
And there we got doing what we did a little bit against Mooney there, Kenny, in that defensively anyway, reaching instead of trying to get the pads in there and the helmet in there. You know, we're just reaching out and grab it, and the good backs, you know, they're going to run right through those arm tackles, so we've got to make sure we keep putting some pads on them.
And a little bit more penetration. They slide beautifully down the line, but they have to get some penetration, or else they'll be picking up those 5 yards. And Myrick is coming again. This time he should be stopped for a loss. Rich the Chalk is in there. Rich Turner. And from Derek Fitzpatrick.
And Ronnie Strollo that time, even though I don't think he made the initial tackle, Kenny, he made that defensive play work there because he made the tailback again just pull up and turn it back inside. And of course we had people in a good pursuit good pursuit angle there, and were able to stop him for almost no gain.
Well, that's 3rd and 2 from the 24-yard line. It's going to be a quick pitch out. He's cut down immediately, but the pass is complete for a first down.
And Donnie Hauser, I think, made the tackle there, Ken, but if Donnie would have been, again, looking maybe more at the quarterback, that ball was thrown probably in a position where he could have maybe had a chance of either knocking it down or intercepting it, but he had his back turned to the quarterback, and the receiver had a clear shot then at the ball. Otherwise, you may have had a chance at that and maybe come up with a big interception at this point.
We're going to have to do something right now because they're on the 18-yard line. White pitches back to Myrex. Myrex trying the right side. He tries the outside and gets about 3 or 4 yards. Fitzpatrick and Fletcher. And McMahon on the stop for the Falcons.
And Myrex is kind of a stocky kid, Ken. Looking here, you know, at the weight chart here, he's 5'11", 181 pounds, and I can see why he's running through some of those arm tackles there. He's a nicely built kid and rather quick and strong also.
The I formation to give it to Ronnie up the middle, and he's stopped immediately by Don Hauser. Short pickup on that play gives them about a 3rd and 2 from the 11-yard line,
which is 4 down territory, Ken. So they've got 2 plays to pick up about 2 yards now. So we've got to play 2 real good defensive plays there, and let's hope maybe that penalty or fumble or something here, you know, we can get a turnover and turn things around here, because right now, you know, they got things going pretty well for themselves. They're moving the ball quite well against us.
It's a timeout charge to the Massillon Tigers. I'd like to remind you listeners that this is a production of the television production class of Austintown Fitch High School, brought to you by Channel 19 and Armstrong Channel, with the help of the Austintown Board of Education. And we appreciate any comments you have. Simply call the school and ask for the studio, or send us a little note. We'd appreciate hearing from you. This production and all of our football games this year are being sponsored by our friends at Kamara Jeweler and at the Robertson Studio. We wish to thank them for their support, and we hope all of you patronize these 2 super establishments. Okay, John, we had a turnover. They had a turnover.
The officials had a turnover.
Ours was a little questionable, but we're not going to get into that again, are we? But now becomes the time for us to tighten up those bootstraps and stop them.
The guy with the white hat on, Kenny's a good friend of mine, so we'll find out about this. I'll probably see him in about 2 weeks, so we'll see what actually they've seen or what happened.
I hope he's a good friend after the game.
Oh, he will be. He's a pretty decent guy.
All right. White gives it to, once again, to Myrex. He's hit by both of the linebackers.
I don't know whether we had enough to...
Patrick, but I'm not sure whether they had enough to stop him.
Right, Ken, that's awfully close. And
Johnny Kowalczyk in also for the Falcons. It's going to be a timeout for a measurement. You know, he's got power. He was standing straight up and still was hit by 3 Falcons and fell forward.
Yeah, these almost reminds me of, you know, the Mooney football team, Kenny. You know, it's obviously a different offensive set, but, you know, the same philosophy. You know, they're not doing anything real fancy, and they're just going to, you know, try and beat you in the pits up there up front, and try and execute a little bit better, and you can rely on, you know, really their strength. And obviously, you know, we've seen up to this point, they do have some pretty strong people up front, because, you know, they're getting 3 and 4 yards a shot, and again, running through some of our tackles.
They're bringing Ronnie Strollo off to the sideline. There's something wrong with his hand or something. That really hurts our defense. It's 1st and goal from the 8-yard line for the Tigers.
Especially on this part of the field, Kenny, because, you know, Ronnie is one of our bigger people, and down in here, you know, especially the way they're running the football, you know, you got to have some size and muscle down there to go nose to nose with them.
The quarterback kept it. He could not be brought down by Davis, but he stepped out on about the 6-yard line. So Bill Davis did a nice job.
Yeah, he got there, Kenny, but again, you know, he just didn't have maybe the quickness to get to him because he had a reach, and he just, the only thing to get a hold of was his shirt, and of course White ran right through that tackle. He just kind of shrugged him off, threw him off, and went all the way down, 6-yard line. Yeah, I thought he got down to the 2-yard line. I guess he must have ran out of bounds, obviously.
He was on the 6. They pushed him. At least Bill got him out of bounds on the 6-yard line. So it's 2nd and goal from the 6. And we have a power eye. They give it to the wingback, and he takes it down to about the 4-yard line. That's Siegenthaler, number 8. He's stopped by a host of the Falcons. There was Fletcher, Fitzpatrick.
Cooper was in there too.
And Damian Billock. That is a fast first quarter.
Well, we got involved in a situation there like we've seen the last few ball games where the ball hasn't been put up in the air too often. We haven't seen people running out of bounds, and you know, when you run the football that often, especially in high school, you know, that clock just disappears in a hurry. But hopefully now we've got 2 good football plays in this here that we can shut down the Tigers here, because playing on their field, you know, we can't afford to let them jump out too far ahead anyways. 1 score I think we can make up, but if they get it going, you know, where they put more than 1 score on the board, you know, it could be a tough evening for us.
You know, the noise level in this stadium is something akin, I think, to LSU in the college ranks. They constantly play things over the PA system, even cheers over the PA system. The band makes sure it's at the most opportune place to make as much noise as possible, and there's never a silent moment here. And
you know, to the team, especially the players and kids out there on the field, Kenny, believe me, they hear those things. And, you know, in crucial situations, those are sometimes the things that really get them that little bit extra, you know, that, you know, stop somebody on that 4th and 1, or like now is down inside that goal line. It, you know, gets that adrenaline flowing, and, you know, something, of course, that we don't need to have happen right now.
All right, it's 3rd and 3. White hands it off to Byrex, and he dives over the pile into the end zone for the score.
That's almost probably a designated type play, Kenny, where, you know, they really try to get down into the lineman's legs and feet and keep them down low, and then he probably has the ability, he may even be a high jumper on the track team, but well, right off the bat he looked like he was going to get a high jumper.
He ought to be, because I mean, he jumped, it had to be at least 4 or 5 feet in the air.
And there's not much you can do about that other than maybe get one of your linebackers free and get over there and catch him up in midair and create a stalemate up there and bring him down, but we didn't get anybody to the football.
Here's Hurst getting ready for the conversion. I don't believe they called that. Chuck Weston moved his leg slightly forward, and they could have called it encroachment. That's what they're calling. You know, I'm sorry, I should not start like this.
Yeah, we can't.
You know, I mean,
we commented about this before we came over, Ken, and you know, it's something I think that we all expected, and it's something that we're going to have to try and overcome before the evening's over, because, you know, I think it's obvious they're going to get anything that's the slightest bit questionable. You know, it's going to go their way, and we've seen that already.
Okay, here's Hurst. They refuse the penalty. He's a left-footed straight kicker. For the 1-point conversion, here it comes. And it's good. Right through the uprights. So the Falcons find themselves down by 7 points. But we do know that our offense can move the ball. We just have to watch that momentum.
Yeah, right, Kenny. I think now, you know, I don't think, you know, we've really lost anything here other than the fact that we're down by a touchdown. But if we can get decent field position, I think we can move the football on them. Yeah, we just started that drive there where we should have started from. That last one we had from about the 40-yard line. You know, that could have been us with the score on the board, but unfortunately, you know, we had to start from our 5-yard line, and then in turn gave them the ball in good field position, and they were able to move it on us. But I think if we bring this ball out somewhere around the 35, 40-yard line, I think we can move the football on them.
Chuck Wesson, Mike Starry, and Derek Fletcher back to receive the kickoff. You know, it is so loud here. I mean, we are in a booth that, let's put it this way, those extra pounds that I put on made it even worse than it was a couple of years ago, and it's very difficult to hear each other.
I think we're sitting on one of those speakers, Kenny, because this is, you pointed out, it just it is very loud, you know, and it just never stops. There's always something going over the PA system.
They kicked it long and far. Chucky Wesson picks it up. He stayed up. No, they didn't call that. Here's knees. Oh, I can't believe this disaster. He picked up the ball, and they say his knee went down, and I'll wait, but I don't believe it did.
Yeah, we're really in a hole now, Kenny. It's one we're going to have trouble digging out of.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm not so sure that Chucky should have tried to catch that. Of course, the ball is live. Even if it goes in the end zone, you have to get it. But now we have to watch ourselves. We're down on the 1-yard line. Derek Fletcher with Keith Motter behind him. And Keith goes and tries to slide to the right, picks up about a yard.
Yeah, we got to go right at him down here because, you know, there's not much room, you know, to be running counters and reverses and that type of thing, Kenny. So we're just going to have to do a little bit better job on that line of scrimmage and see if we can't at least get some room to punt the football out, if nothing else.
I was waiting to see if the Tigers would blitz. They did not on that play. They're just staying home.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you don't want to get caught in that situation because if they get by that initial wall, then it's just to the goal line in a foot race.
Rufer is wide right. Mike Starry goes to the outside. They're trying to grab him by the arm, but he got down to about the 6-yard line. Yeah, pick up about 4 yards.
Pretty good game there, Kenny. At least, again, you know, we still have a chance to get a first down, but if we don't have to put our kicker back there on the end line, which is always dangerous. You know, you get a bad snap and you know, you can step out of the end zone or whatever. And
Rob Tofill comes in. Rob Tofill and Tom Rufer bring in the plays from the coach.
We may throw this ball here, Kenny.
And McMahon comes over to the right. There's a flag, and it's in the backfield. And I think they're going to call us.
I think they moved up front, too.
Game.
We were pointing to their down lineman who seemed to cross the neutral zone, Kenny, but I don't know whether that's going to be.
He was looking at his. But who keeps the time, John?
Usually the back judge, Kenny, the guy down here that's in the secondary.
But they're calling it offside against the Tigers, and that helps. And it's not a first down, but it'll be third and roughly about 2 yards.
There's no two ways of looking at those, Kenny, like when the nose man jump. I mean, when they make contact, I mean, there's no doubt. So they had to call that. And see what happens there, you know, we flex again to, you know, a strong formation, you know, an end over, and they see that motion, initial motion, and sometimes those down linemen get a little bit jittery, you know, and they get a little too anxious, and they've done that twice now. They've jumped offside.
A good sign. Ronnie Strollo came in. He's back in at tight end. Over on the right side. We have a balanced line, and they're going over the right side. Johnny Kowalczyk does not get the momentum. They penetrated and got a hand on him in the backfield. He brought it back to the line of scrimmage, but that's as far as he got.
And that was probably our worst offensive play and their best defensive play. That time we just had no movement at all on the line of scrimmage, and of course the end result being no gain, and now we have to punt the football.
It looked like we got the jump on him on the ball, but nobody was getting blocked. Larry Bucciarelli back to punt. He's standing in his end zone. It's a bad snap. but he gets a nice kickoff. It's coming down to about the 42. Should be a good run back, I believe, but he's nice stop made by Rob Tofield. He brought it back to the 35-yard line. It's a return of 10 yards. The punt went from about the 10-yard line to the 50. It was a 40-yard punt with a 10-yard return.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, Kenny, the fact that I think their backs are a little bit stronger than ours. You know, even on that punt return there, you know, they're taking us for that extra 2 and 3 yards sometimes. You know, we're not taking them down as that initial contact.
Now, McMahon filled a hole, but all he can do is trip him up, and Myrick took it down for about 5 yards.
We're back
just on that drive, just that quick drive.
We're back on our heels now, Kenny, because you know, it's obvious they're controlling that line of scrimmage. You know, we're not making any contact until the ball carrier is like 2 and 3 yards downfield, and that wasn't true there the first few times they had the football.
And it's Myrick stopped in the backfield by McMahon. Eric did a nice job. They put the ball up a little, about a yard and a half more than he got tackled. That's why that buoy was going off for the Falcons. But that time we got penetration by the line.
Yeah, that's we really haven't had much trouble stopping the outside game. It's just when they come right at us, Kenny, they seem to be getting too much yardage up inside.
They have a man in motion. And we're going to have a pass. There is a man open. And he caught the ball right over the hand of our Falcon defender and brings it down to the 1 yard line.
Now there they ran that sweep. You know, the play they ran previously, they had made a fake off of that, and they brought the tight end back across the field, and our linebacker really came up and tried to support on the run and didn't get back quick enough, and that was a well-thrown ball because he had to throw it over the linebacker's head and just lay it in there, and he was right on the money.
Lawrence was playing the ball, but the ball was tossed over his head, beautifully tossed right in the hands of the receiver, Martin. And now it's first and goal from the 1, and here comes Myrex. They say he broke the plane, and it's a touchdown for the Tigers. And lightning strikes fast.
And again, we get into a situation that we don't like to be in, and that's getting too far behind because, you know, we've mentioned this several times before on our telecast, the fact that, you know, we do not have that catch-up type offense. You know, we like to put sustained drives together, and, you know, it usually takes us 7 or 8 minutes sometimes to score. And when you get down by 2 and 3 touchdowns sometimes, that takes away your game plan, you know, as far as Coach Hartman is concerned, and makes us do some things maybe that we probably didn't plan on doing and hope that we didn't have to do anyway.
The conversion is good. That gives Tigers 14-0 score over our Falcons. Now, there's 7 minutes left to go in the second quarter. The Falcons obviously are going to have to get better position. We have been playing too many ball games from our 10-yard line. 90 and 85-yard drives are tough to do. So we're going to have to get that ball down. We know this man can kick, so we're going to have to do something about getting the ball up to about the 30 or 40-yard line. We have time to score. I think if we take the time, make sure that we score before halftime, things could be a little different.
Yeah, we can't panic, and, you know, we've got to, you know, as you pointed out, the kicker does have a pretty decent leg, and we're going to have trouble getting good field position, but if we can get it out to about the 30 or so, again, you know, 7 minutes is enough time for us to get something or put something together, and I'm sure Dave isn't going to panic now and just start putting the ball up in the air because we still have a whole 2.5 quarters of football here left to play, so, you know, we're not going to push the old panic button yet.
Okay, Mike Story has moved over closer to the right side with Chuck Wilson, and on the other side is Derek Fletcher. The kick comes down. It's going to come to Mike Story. And Mike takes it on about the 4. He's to the 15. He's breaking it open. He has one man to beat. He could go all the way. He's going out to the 30. He's going to go all the way for the score, and that's what we needed, John.
That's it.
There it is. That was a 95-yard return.
And that's one thing, Kenny. It's nice to have a guy that can kick the ball deep and high, but you know what? Sometimes that gives that return team time to set up a return. You know, you can time your blocks, you know, get in position, and, you know, that's sometimes a negative factor from a kicking standpoint if you don't get it deep in the end zone. The low kick, the line drive kick, sometimes you have trouble timing all those things up, but sometimes that works against you from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, Mike Starry showed his speed on that, but folks, let it be known there were excellent blocks.
Oh, yeah, Mike did a nice job of picking the hole. You know, they set up, everything was timed perfectly. The wedge opened up, and then, of course, when Mike got into the secondary, you know, he didn't panic. He waited, and he set up a couple other blocks, and then he broke it all the way for a great touchdown run.
Jeff Wilkins, the attempt to get all kind of flags. It's good, but they're waving it off now. It's probably a penalty against us.
Well, wait and see, Ken, because we've always been able to draw the defensive team off with our cadence, and maybe this is...
talking to Massillon, though, John. They must have had an extra man on the... They must have had an extra man on the field.
Well, I mentioned that about that Tiger, Ken. In fact, that they might try to do...
That sneaky little Tiger came charging out on the field.
And sometimes it's just an honest mistake, you know, that... you know, a team will do that, but I can, you know, maybe tell a story now real quick. We did this one year where we had 12 men on the field and the officials didn't catch us, and we got about a six-play drive going before the other coach got out to the hash mark and brought it to the officials' attention, and obviously we brought that extra man off the field. But sometimes, you know, that's just an honest mistake. Things like that happen. You know, somebody comes out that's supposed to be in there, or vice versa. You have two people going in to replace one, and
now Jeff Wilkins' kick was good. They just made it inside the left pole, but it was a dead ball foul, and they stopped the play before Jeff could kick it. So now he'll do it again from the 2-yard line. It's out of the hold of Jeff Scott. The ball's down, set, and good. Now the Falcons score quickly. It's now 14-7.
And sometimes that's a very depressing thing to have happen to a football team, Kenny, because, you know, they really have done a good job of shutting us down here in the first half up to this point. And all of a sudden, you know, a guy kicks the ball all the way down inside the 5-yard line, and you're up 14-0, and before you know it, the score's 14-7, and, you know, one play. You know, we were talking about putting together a drive which, you know, we thought maybe we could complete within 7 minutes. And in reality, it only took us, what, maybe about 12?
Well, we weren't
12
wrong.
seconds?
We weren't wrong.
So anyway, that's the kind of thing you have to have happen against a good football team, especially when you're playing on the road, and especially you know, a place like Tiger Stadium.
I believe they gave him 97 yards on that kickoff return. Larry Bucciarelli, the kickoff for the Falcons. And Jeff Myrick is deep to receive the kickoff for the Tigers.
Let's just hope that they don't return the favor now, Ken.
You had to say that, John.
We have been doing a good job,
the
though.
ball bounces down on the 20. It's picked up on the 10 by Myrick. He comes straight up the middle, but he's knocked down out of the 35-yard line. Let's see who's there. John Kowalczyk is there. Don Hauser.
And I think Greg DeLisio was in there, too, number 34. Greg has been doing a good job here up to this point in the season. He's been in a lot of stops on the specialty teams.
And he did do a super job. 1st and 10 for the Tigers on the 35. Now it's time for the Falcons to hold them. And they've got to watch this passing game because this quarterback can throw the ball. But they're going to run it. Myrick is coming back to the long side. Stop by Rich Turner. He picks up 5 yards. Rich DeChalk was also on the stop for the Falcons.
And now what they're doing, Kenny, is a little bit of what we do offensively. You know, they've been running that power sweep to the right or to the left or whatever to the you know, strong side of the formation. Now they're taking a little jab step, and they're coming back with a counter the other way. And again, we started to over-pursue, so they're going to see if they can take advantage of it, too, like we try to do.
They have a 2nd and 5. It's given to the up man, Riley. He does get through. And all the arm correctly. And he's going all the way from the 45-yard line. He's a short man. It looked like he was contained on the line. Once again, he had a couple of arm tackles. He broke through them easily, and he turned on the afterburner and went that 40. Actually, it's from the 45, so it's a 55-yard run.
Yeah, Kenny, I pointed that out earlier. We, aren't having a whole lot of trouble stopping the outside game because I think we have enough quickness, to do that. But they really have been more than successful at running inside. Seems like they're a little bit stronger than we are up front, and I was thinking to myself they're wasting plays by running outside because it seemed like they're just having too much success inside, and those are just wasted plays.
It looked as if our linebackers were looking more for the pass than for the run. The conversion is good. Now it's 21-7.
So right away that negates that long touchdown run, Kenny. They not only put another touchdown up on the board, but they get the old momentum back on their side too. So now we're back to square one, as they say. Yeah, we haven't done much.
We had a lot of scoring in that 1 minute segment. It's 6:13 to go in the second quarter, and the Falcons now are going to have to once again answer that score.
Well, even though Mooney did have a lot of success moving the ball on us, Kenny, that one drive in particular, they didn't, I don't think, control the line of scrimmage like Massillon has. Massillon is just kind of physically manhandling us right now. We're just, as you pointed out, maybe just getting an arm or two out to try and stop some of these backs, and they're just not the type of backs that you're going to bring down like that. They not only have quickness, but they have some strength to go along with that quickness.
Mike Starry's deep. He's back in the same position on the right side with Chuck Wesson. On the other side is Derek Fletcher. Let's see if they kick it back to him. Last time he turns it in. And Mike Starry will get it again. Picks up at the 10. He's busting up the middle, and he's knocked down on the 30-yard line. There were a few openings there.
Yeah, it was just one man again, Kenny, from breaking it again. And like I said, even though, it looks awesome when they kick the ball like that, but it does give the receiving team time to set up that wedge. And again, you got some sometimes pretty easy blocks out in the open field like that. Those guys are coming down, at full speed ahead usually. You teach them to come under control, but sometimes kids get a little bit too aggressive and out of control, and it sets them up for an easy block. And of course, there's just a slight hole there, and a guy like Starry will take it all the way on you.
We have 67 yards to go for the score. Rich Turner's in motion. Big hole in the middle. Mike Starry takes it down for about a 14-yard gain and a first down. He's down on the 45-yard line. There was a huge hole in the middle.
Yeah, great job again up front. And that time, Mike had a little bit too much forward lean there, and he couldn't get his balance like he did on the kickoff return, because if he could have gotten his balance, he could have put a move or two on somebody there and maybe gotten a little bit more than what he did.
Okay, here we go now, 1st and 10 from our 45-yard line. Keith Motter, Mike Starry behind Derek Fletcher. It's Mike Starry again. He's pushing people around in front of him. He brings it up to about the 48-yard line for a pickup of 3 yards. And Mike Starry is pushing people around, boy. He looks like he wants to run.
Yeah, he's running quite well right now, Kenny, and just something now the coaches might be setting up again. Don't be surprised if we come back with a counter again, because we've had success, running that second man handoff or sweep off tackle. So again, we might catch McKinley over pursuing and go back against the grain there. So we'll see what happens.
The Tiger nose man, Riley, once again almost went over the ball. The official reached in his pocket but didn't pull anything out. The pass is intercepted, and this is the wrong man to have it. It was intercepted by Myrex, who brings it back to the 37-yard line. Now, there were 2 open Falcons. The ball went over their heads. There is a penalty, personal foul against the Falcons. Going to tack on another 15 yards.
Yeah, Derek was kind of in the middle there, Ken, because he could have ran with the ball, and as you pointed out, he had 2 receivers open, but it was the type of pass he had to throw where he had to loft the ball and Again, he was a little bit off target and gave the defensive back time to recover. I was hoping that Derek would just take off and run with it there because he had a lot of daylight and could have at least got down the sideline and out of bounds and stopped the clock. But now we got to worry about stopping them here defensively.
Before the halftime, right? That 15-yard penalty over and above the yardage for the interception is 1st and 10 in the Falcon territory on the 23. And it looks like he's going to pass. He's going deep. And a beautiful job by Derek Fletcher.
Well, again, there you could look at that, as maybe, it was by accident or by design, but, Derek throws an interception. He's the quarterback, and, maybe being a little bit dejected or down about what he did offensively. And, boy, they come right out and they try to go deep on him, with the pass, maybe catching him asleep over there, maybe still, pouting a little bit about what happened offensively. So, he did meet the challenge, Young, got up and batted the ball away because the ball was right on the money again.
Once again, they have a man split right, in motion to the left. It's the pitch out to Myrick. It was grabbed in the back by Rich DeChalk and finally put down by John Polish.
But again, Kenny,
Fitzpatrick was also in there.
We got some people there, but again, we're reaching and just tackling with our hands instead of shoulders, and they're getting a little bit more yardage than what they should, and that's something we're going to have to, overcome in the second half, and we expect to stay close here.
Joe Dolak came in. It's 3rd and 9 from the 22 or 23. They go inside with it. There's a big hole. He's knocked down by Devin Fitzpatrick and Joel Dolak, but all the way down to the 12-yard line. That should be enough for a first down, and it is.
And again, just a misdirection play, a little counter, and that they're having so much success, with the off-tackle stuff that, we're getting people, trying to get people to the off-tackle hole, and here they're coming back, and again, against the grain in the opposite direction, and now they got it going, I guess you might say, because, when you run inside and outside, and you got counters going, the passing game going, puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Now it's 1st and 10 for the 12-yard line, and it's Myrick, and someone comes in from the side to hit him just as he picked up about 1 yard, maybe 2. We'll see who it is. John Polish gets off. There's Eric McMahon, I think, was the one who came in, and we have the Chalk and Davis also in there.
And there it looked like they got a little head start there on the line of scrimmage, Ken, but there was a team, Boardman used to do it years ago quite well. They'd get all their linemen moving at the same time and do it before the snap of the ball and get a little jump, because you teach the down lineman, the defensive lineman, to watch the football, and, sometimes an official has a difficult time seeing that looking down the line of scrimmage.
He's rolling out to the right. He's going to pass, and it's out wide, and Derek Fletcher was again covering.
Well, now they have a decision to make because, the young man doing the kicking obviously has a strong leg, and now we're down there into, is it only 3rd? I thought it was 4th, Kenny. But this is 4th down territory, and I just happened to look up at the clock, and they had already changed it down. But be interesting to see what they would do down here with a 14-point lead. I hope we do have to, force them into having to make that decision. Giving them a 4th and about 4 or 5 and see what they do.
They have Pfister wide to the left. In motion is number 80. He's dropping back to pass. Now he looks like he's going to run. He fires it, and it's incomplete. It was a nice pass on a run like that. Derek Fletcher once again was standing in the way, and now they're bringing in their field goal team.
Yeah, we're giving him a little bit too much time back there, Kenny, because they're running one route and
take off with that,
and then they're adjusting their routes, and he's starting to run. And when you do that, that again is putting a lot of pressure on your defensive secondary, because that gives those receivers time to find some seams and holes in the defense. And with a guy throwing the ball like White, we could be in for a long evening.
Well, here's Hirsch. He's going to try a field goal from about the 18-yard line. He had plenty of leg, and it's good.
So the answer to that question, Ken, I guess maybe we might feel a little bit good about only giving him 3 instead of 7, but still, right now we're down by 17 points, and that's quite a bit for our offense to overcome. So we're obviously going to have our work cut out for us in the second half. The thing we have to be, I guess, too concerned about here is there's only 2 minutes and 11 seconds to go, and depending probably on the field position we get, I guess if we get the ball out in pretty good field position, Dave may try and put the ball up and try and get another score before half. But I think if they keep us back deep in our own territory, he'll probably decide just to try and run out the clock and maybe go in and come back on the second half and try and overcome that deficit.
We've got to stop making mistakes on offense. We move the ball, we just make the big mistake at the wrong time. It's really ironic because we do worry about that offense because of the situation in the last 4 games, but the offense is showing a lot of life. It's just a big mistake that's got to stop.
Yeah, we're not really doing that badly offensively, Ken. We just, like you pointed out, a mistake here or there, and it's hurt us. The interceptions. And of course, we aren't going to dwell on it, but we should have had the ball right off the bat, in real good field position. And again, it was a mistake on our part, and of course, we could have gotten a break in the officiating end of it, but still, we're hurting ourselves as much as Massillon's hurting us.
It's a nice high kick. Picked up by Mike Starry out of 9. He's going up the middle. He's waiting. He's looking, and he stopped piled down on the 25-yard line.
And we got to give Massillon a bit of credit there because they come down that time, they got themselves under control, and again they created some stalemates, and that time Mike had to kind of ease up a little bit and try and find some running room, and we weren't quite as successful as we were the last few times running them back.
He was in the cocoon of the blockers waiting to bust out, but the Tigers made the pursuit in proper order, tied up our blockers, and it was just no place to run. So here we go, 1st and 10 from our 25. We've got less than 2 minutes to go. Derek Fletcher going back to pass, and he's just smothered by 3 of the Tigers. But 2 linebackers came blowing in on him.
That surprised me a little bit, Ken, because I didn't think if we got this kind of field position that we would try and get a score, because if we have another drastic turnover here, if nothing else, right now they'd be within field goal range. So I would think now we're probably just trying to run the clock out.
We do get the ball back when we come back after the beginning of the second half. So it would be silly, I think, at this point to take that chance. But then again, you don't know, it may pay off, and they're going to try it again. Rich Turner. He picked up about 4 yards on that and got nailed by Jerome Myrick. That young man does everything.
Yeah, they've got some pretty good quickness back there, Kenny. And, well, again, a good completion by Derek, but, the secondary, of course, as we point out, had some good quickness, and they got to the football in a hurry and to give us an opportunity to break that one.
And the Tigers are taking a timeout.
Well, they feel now you got 37 seconds to go. If they can stop us here, then of course they've got an opportunity to maybe block a punt, and as we said, they would be an excellent field position, and with the leg that the kicker has, they're well within range of he kicking a field goal. But you made a good point too, Ken. You have to think about the fact that we will receive and get the ball in the second half, and we can't, again, panic here and try and get a quick score and have things turn around against us, and they put points up on the board, because we, right now, it's going to be difficult to overcome 17 and 31. If we it'd be 31-7, we had to overcome 24 points, more than 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty difficult task for any football team to take on. And the funny thing is, it's gotten awfully quiet.
Yes.
As you pointed out, the cheers have stopped. And,
it's like everyone's waiting for halftime. Well, we have 36 seconds left to go. Derek is going back again to pass. This time he's going to take off with the ball. He's down at about the 30-yard line, or 32. The clock will continue running, and immediately the Tigers take a timeout. So now we're going to have to have a good punt.
The thing that has me puzzled a little bit, Kenny, and it has nothing to do with the actual playing of the game, but the field, the condition. It looks like it's in good shape, but it must be right. The grass must be cut real low or short, because both teams have had a difficult time trying to make sharp cuts. And again, we haven't had any moisture tonight, anyways, and the field couldn't be that firm or frozen. It just has me a little bit puzzled that they can't stop and plant and cut, because we've had both teams find it difficult sometimes making that cut and trying to, reverse or change directions. But maybe you can't say, they grease the field down or whatever, trying to, because they have to play on the same or play under the same conditions as we have.
But what, I wouldn't put it past this.
No, we expected that. To come over here, it was going to be difficult to win. We're fortunate that we did win the one time we were over here. We had to play a great game, because aren't too many teams come in here and win football games unless you do play a well of a football game. There's a lot of things that you have to overcome, obstacles.
Good snap. Larry Bucciarelli, quick punt, and it's a beautiful one. It bounces all the way down to the 20. Now it takes a reverse bounce to about the 22. From the 35 to the 22, we're talking about 15, 20, 47 yards. Super punt by Larry Bucciarelli. Now you could count on this long ball.
Yeah, I would think so, Kenny, because they, have a comfortable lead, and, they've got some speed, and it wouldn't surprise me if they put it up deep and try and, hit a home run here real quick. They might try it one time. If we intercept, it might be somewhere, around our 35, 40-yard line, which, if they got decent coverage, it really wouldn't hurt them. And again, he seems like he has that kind of arm, and of course they've got the people outside that can get deep.
They're not going to do anything. They're going to let it run out. So that's the end of the first half, with the Falcons finding themselves on the short end of a 24-7 first half score. Now the Falcon coaching staff will have to put their collective brains together and come up with some sort of play or plan to try to overcome this. And it is, obviously a big deficit, but it's not insurmountable by any stretch of imagination.
The thing is,
Now we're getting ready to see if the Falcons have a better game plan for the second half to try to get back into this ball game down by 17 points. Kickoff is going to go to Derek Fletcher. He picks it up on the 6-yard line, goes back towards the middle. He cuts back upfield, and he's all the way down to the 32-yard line. An excellent return by Derek Fletcher, taking it from the 6 to the 32 for a 26-yard return. First and 10 for the Falcons on their 31, their 32-yard line.
And not too bad a field position to start the second half with, Kenny, so let's see if we can get something going here. And, of course, as we pointed out several times before, that old clock in high school just seems to fly by, so we got to do it right now. We can't wait too long here into the second half.
Okay, Keith Motter standing behind. We have a full house backfield, and to give us to Mike Starr. He comes over to the left side and picks up about 3 yards. He's stopped by Jim Bullock and Heckenbrecht on a stop for the Tigers. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Falcons on the 35-yard line.
I think Coach Hartman and his staff probably going to try to stay close to the game plan anyway, Kenny. As you see, we come out here and we start, with a running play, and we're not just going to throw the ball every play and try and get back in it real quick.
We're back in the wing. Mike Starr is in motion. He takes the ball, cuts back upside, cuts back against the grain. He's doing a super job of breaking tackles. He brings it down to the 45-yard line in the first down. It was a super run by Mike Starr.
Yeah, there Mike picked and felt his way, for some good yards. He broke some tackles, and again, what we need to get the second half started, something to inject a little bit of life into that offense and get things going for us here.
Well, we had a full house backfield, then we went to the wing T. Let's see how we set up again. We're back in the wing T. Rich Turner on the right, Mike Starr on the left. Mike Starr in motion. It's given to Keith Motter up the middle. He's going for a first down. He has one man to beat for a score, and it's a diving tackle by number 3. Maldonor makes a stop of Keith Potter, and that's just once again mixing up the plays. And Keith took it all the way down to the Tigers' 23-yard line.
Okay, we can score quickly here and cut that deficit to 10 points. That's less than 2 scores with a lot of time to go. We play some decent defense. The game's really by far not over yet.
Now Mike Starry is close. Rich Turner's in motion. Mike Starry up the middle, down to the 10, down to the 8, down to the 7-yard line, and another first down. So far we've given them 4 or 5 different looks, and they all seem to be working.
And again, Kenny, we seem to do this every week, but the coaches a lot of times are getting knocked a lot of times, I guess. But I always like to pat them on the back because we've, especially since Dave has taken over, we've been able to come out and be a real good, effective second-half football team. They're always able to make some key adjustments, especially offensively, that get things going for us.
For a timeout, but nobody on the field is seeing them. They're not calling a timeout, and the coaches are going bananas for the Tigers on the sidelines. They want a timeout. John Kowalczyk. Now we have a delay of game against the Falcons. I don't believe this.
Well, we had Massillon trying to call a timeout, and as it turns out, we could call for a delay of game, and
our coaches are all on the field screaming, but that's to no avail. That's a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see us get back in the ball game, getting to see what happens.
Call the timeout.
And I have my doubts about the crew that's out here, because Massillon was feverishly trying to call a timeout there, but with the 5 officials out there, it didn't seem like anybody's seen them. I think everybody in the stand seen them, and we've seen them up here, but for whatever reason, they didn't call a timeout, and of course we get a delay of game.
This has been a problem with us. Now we have a 1st and 15 from about the 13-yard line, and I mean, it's unbelievable now that we end up with this situation. And there's Coach Hartman, who is really going after the officials over this, and the players don't like what's going on either. The momentum, once again, we came charging down the field all the way from the 32-yard line down to about the 7, and now we're back onto the 12 or 13, and the Falcons cannot now afford to let go.
And sometimes, thought that was going through my mind, Kenny, Massillon trying to call timeout, and our kids probably just taking for granted the officials are going to recognize it, and then, they just kind of relax back there and sit in the huddle waiting for them to maybe signal for that timeout.
Dave Hartman's going back to the sidelines. Falcons are ready. John Kowalczyk is now the fullback. Rich Turner's to the left, Mike Starry to the right at our wing T. Turner in motion. And we're going to pass. Mike Starry is wide open in the end zone. The pass is to Ron Strollo, and it's incomplete. I'm not sure whether it was knocked down or Ron just couldn't hold on to it.
Well, we had 2 receivers wide open. Starry was open over towards the far corner of the end zone, but Derek, for some reason, I've seen him throw the ball, before. It's not really trying to, zip the ball in there. You got to, especially on a 10, 15-yard pass like that, have confidence in your arm and throw the ball.
And when you have a big target like Ron Strollo standing there and the defender behind him, just go at his midsection with the ball. Well, now the Falcons find themselves 2nd and 15. And they go up the middle with Mike Starry, who takes it down to about the 8-yard line. That's a pickup of, well, they moved it back now to the 9. With a pickup of 5 yards.
Of course, the penalty, you had to change our thinking down there, Ken, because, we were down there with a 1st and 10, first and goal to go inside the 10, and, 5-yard penalty makes a little bit of difference now. Now you got to go 15 instead of 10, and it's tough scoring down in there.
Bouffeur is in now for the Falcons. He's split wide to the left. Turner and Starry, they're going to pass. Rich, he should run the ball. Derek Fletcher You're still on his feet, and he goes in.
That's a great second effort there by Derek, Ken. He spun and broke about 2 or 3 tackles there, and fantastic effort getting into the end zone.
I'll tell you, Derek made me a little nervous there. He looked like he was going to hold back and pass, and by that time, everybody was jumbled up, and he had a free field. Now, he did. Someone from the Tigers grabbed his leg. He just kicked himself out and dove into the end zone past one of the defenders. Great second effort.
What happens there, too, I know the coaches are, you're thinking pass first, and now he sees all that daylight out there on the corner. Now he wants to run, so there's some indecision there, and, of course, fortunately, he made the right decision, on that occasion.
Jeff Wilkins, and it's blocked. It's blocked. They came on. They were all standing. No one went down in the three-point stance. They came shooting straight in. And there was just no way. They were already in front of Jeff Scott before the kick was made.
Man, that's a no-no there, Ken, because you don't mind them if they come from the outside and they've got somebody with some great speed and they block one, but never should it happen where they get up the gut on you like that. And they break through the seam up inside because somebody obviously broke down.
Yes. Now, once again, we get into the highs and lows. Here we go, we come down, right away, boom, 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 and we score a touchdown, but then we don't get the extra point, so now we're down by 8. So that a little bit of that spirit has to be a little negated by that missed extra point. But we'll see how the Falcons can come up now with the kickoff and try to hold the Tigers down in some decent field position for the Falcons.
Well, it changes your thinking a little bit too, Ken, because with only a 10-point difference, a touchdown and 2-point conversion and field goal, you're up by 1. Now we've got to score 2 touchdowns in order to overcome the lead now.
Larry Bucciarelli gets it in the air. It bounces. It's touched by Myricks. He's gone at a 10.
Trouble.
He's at the 20.
Trouble.
And he's breaking through. He'll get stopped. But it's a fumble. And let's see if they give it to us now. It should be to us. They're pointing our way. They're pointing our way. And are they going to do it? I don't believe it.
No, they called him down, I think.
They called. It was down by the field. And I'll tell you, folks, I don't believe it. I'll say it. Falcon fans, we just got nailed.
That cheer you hear now, I think, is for the guys in the striped shirts, Kenny, because
that ball should have been ours. But as it turns out, the Falcons didn't have time to play around now. It's 1st and 10 for the Tigers on their 46, and the Falcons have to get set and stop them here. Byron and 3 of the Falcons just nailed as he moved. It was Ronnie Strollo and Damian Billock, and as soon as he got the ball, he was hit immediately for a 2-yard loss.
And that's exactly what we've got to have right now. We've got to overcome the crowd noise and, of course, maybe some questionable officiating and, win the football game for ourselves. And that was a great defensive effort there.
Man in motion. White comes back. He fakes it. He's going to pass. It's wide open. It's number 88. And that's Gerald Pope. He was wide open coming from the left side.
Well,
it takes a little steam out of that defense.
Maybe the right call on Kenny, but, again, our outside defensive end, if we'd have gotten a little bit more penetration and depth, we had the linebacker come home free there, but we had nobody contain the quarterback, and he flushed him out of the pocket.
It looked like they were more afraid of coming in on him than letting him run. But they've got to put some pressure on him. He is an excellent quarterback. Myrick, and the play is stopped. The linesman calls a penalty on someone. Let's see who it is. Illegal procedure against the Tigers. They're bringing it back for 5 yards. It'll be from the 45, 1st and 15. I can't believe that about that fumble. But, I mean, there's no taking away from the Tigers. We stopped them and then they come back with that passing game. that makes us a little nervous. So we're 24-13 with 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter. In motion is Pope, and it's given to Myrex. He's trying the outside, and he breaks through 2 tackles, and it looks like he's going to score. There's something we didn't need.
Yeah, again, Kenny, we got him stopped for no gain, and people just are lunging and not tackling with their head up and getting a good shoulder in there. That's just a poor effort on our part defensively, and of course you can't take the credit away from Myrick because he has done a good job of running, but that was more a case of poor tackling there.
You've got to stop hitting with the shoulders and hitting with the hands and wrapping those hands around him. You're not going to put that fella down by simply hitting him.
Yeah, they gotta really hit and wrap a little bit better than what they're doing now.
Hurst kicks, and it's good.
That's kind of shocking what is happening now because this isn't what we expected. You know, our defensive football team has played so well the first 4 ball games, and we sputtered a little bit offensively, but I just never thought that Massillon would be able to put this many points on the board against us.
We just can't afford trying to match them with touchdowns in the second half, being down all the way from 24-7 at halftime. It is shocking. It's surprising, too. The defense has been our forte. The offense is ripping up, and now the defense is breaking down.
Yeah, the defense sometimes is kind of the spark plug, Kenny, because they go out and start popping people and hitting people, and the guys on the sideline, especially the offensive people, see that. That gets you pumped up. But now, when you go out, we're kind of giving a poor effort defensively. Really, we're not popping people. It works in reverse. And the offensive people just don't get that little extra enthusiasm that they need.
We're down by 18. Mike Starry will pick it up at about the 4-yard line. Comes out to the right side and dives to about the 25. So the Falcons have 75 yards to go.
Yeah, that was a crucial series there, Kenny, because we had to stop them. We were within 11 points. We stopped them there and forced them to punt. We still had the momentum going our way, but now we're down to, 6:25 left in the third quarter, and, of course, we're back where we started from, down by 18 points and, a long road ahead.
Motter behind Derek Fletcher. Reverse to Rich Turner. He's knocked down about the 30-yard line to pick up the 5 yards.
And Massillon did a pretty good job of stopping that. That has been probably one of our most successful plays up to this point this year.
I think we took off so fast they didn't have time to react.
Yeah, you're probably right, Ken.
Reverse.
Right, it was on a quick count, and of course we didn't do anything to set it up this time. We come out and ran it on first down, and maybe that's what caused it maybe to be not as successful as it usually is.
Mike Starry in motion, and we have a bootleg by Derek Fletcher, but it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Derek picked up about 2 or 3 yards on his own. I'm not sure whether he intended to pass off that boot or whether he was really meant to run the ball.
Yeah, it looked like a predetermined run, Kenny. It looked like they had some kind of a deal on, too, and one linebacker was scraping right into that area, the off-tackle hole, and we didn't have enough people there to compensate for the defense they give us.
Here comes Rob Tofill with the play. The crucial third down. I guess they're all crucial. It's about 3rd and 3 from the 34-yard line. They have to get just past the 35. Mike Starry may or may not, depending on where they place it, make it. It looks as if they're over the line, and it should be a first down, but watch where they put the ball down.
Yeah, I think we're going to get this
line. They give us the first down, so Mike Starry takes it for the first down, and we have it on our 35.
And we've got to score quickly, Ken, because we're already, I pointed out we're at 6:25, and you look up there, and all of a sudden now we're at 4:25, and we've got to hopefully maybe come up with a big play here, and get a quick score on the board.
Rich Turner in motion. Derek Fletcher keeping the ball, is firing it down to Tom Bouffeur, and he's complete down in the Tigers' 37-yard line. Nice pass by Derek Fletcher. Nice route by Tom Bouffeur.
Again, Derek.
Tom, I hope I'm pronouncing your name.
That's Tommy Vauthier, I think, Ken. You're close.
Vauthier, I love that name. Love that name.
But Derek that time put some zip on it. He's been, I guess what happens sometimes is, you know, the couple occasions there, guys were so wide open that Derek just wanted to make sure he got him the football, and he just kind of steered it in there instead of letting it go. That time he threw the ball like he's capable of.
Mike Starr in motion. It's given up the middle to Keith Motter. He's down to the 25, down to the 22, and a first down for the Falcons. Pickup of about 14 or 15 yards. The Falcons, once again, are moving the ball nicely.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, Kenny, because, you know, if our defense would have played the kind of game that, you know, they have up to this point, you know, the first 4 ball games, the offense, when they've gotten the football, you know, has moved it quite well. But it's just the fact that we haven't had it often enough tonight to really get something going. And, yeah, still got a long ways to go yet. We can still get back in this game.
Turner in motion. Mike Starry in the middle. Linebacker came over, but Mike Starry showed a good drive on that play. He hit the linebacker coming up to make the stop and drove him back about 3 or 4 yards.
You know, it was just a little inside counter, but what had happened there, the timing was just a little bit off, and Mike got there a step before the trap man did, and if he'd have been a little bit later on that, you know, the hole would have had time to open up and the play develop a little bit better than it did. Mike would have had more yardage than he did.
Rob Tofel bringing the play. Rob Tofel and Tommy Vauthier are taking turns bringing in the plays for the Falcons. It's 2nd and 7 from the 20-yard line. In motion, Rich Turner. It's going to be a pass. And once again, he went to Mike Starry, and it... flags flying all over the place. Mike Starry was trying to get up, and one of the Tigers was underneath him, and I believe they're calling the penalty on the Tigers.
Yeah, I couldn't see what happened there, Ken, but hopefully it's not on us because, you know, that's all we need now.
It's a personal foul against the Tigers.
I'm glad to see that because...
It was something like, it must have been something he said. Obviously, he didn't...
Because, you know, we've got a good drive going, and, you know, you'd hate to see something like that, you know, put a damper on it. You know, somebody getting, you know, losing a temper or whatever, but...
So it should be a first down, because it should be a 10-yard penalty, and it brings it to the 10-yard line, and it is a first down. Now the Falcons have the ball first and goal at just over the 10-yard line. We will not be able to make a first down. It has to be a touchdown.
Yeah, and we often point this out, probably the worst place on the football field to try and score from. I don't know why, you know 10 yards is 10 yards, but, you know, if there were a statistic kept on this, you'd find out that more often than not, you're not going to score from there, but I hope that's not true here.
Now here we go. Turner in motion. Mike Starry over the middle. He goes out to the left. He's going in for the score.
See how much I know?
Hey, I don't care. That was a beautiful run by Mike Starry. There was a nice hole over the middle. The linemen are doing a super job, and Mike broke a couple of arm tackles and one hard tackle and went in for the score.
And really, again, Kenny, if we didn't stop ourselves a few times there, we did, with mistakes, we really have moved the ball quite well on them. It's just that, defensively we haven't had it when we had to, and then, of course, offensively, a couple interceptions and a fumble, and really we shouldn't be down by as many as we are, but we're still in the football game.
Here we go for two. And out, we had an extra player. Let's see if he gets off the field. Apparently he made it. Rich Turner, Derek Fletcher, he should run it in. He's going for the play, and he does get in for the two-point conversion. Derek was smart that time, boy.
So again now, Kenny, we're back to where, I had hoped we would have been, when we scored the last time. We were within 10, so now, in high school ball, you can go for that two-point conversion. We get 8, and then a field goal could win the ball game for us. We stymie them on 31. We get a touchdown, go for the 2, then kick a field goal. We can still win the ball game. The other way, we had to score 2, which, makes it a little more difficult.
Well, we have 2:46 left to go in the third quarter, and the Falcon defense is going to have to somehow stop this Tiger play. Now they're beating us on the medium pass and these breakaway runners after some missed tackles. We've got to stop those.
Yeah, and they're beating us in that off-tackle hole, Kenny, and really it's not because they're executing that well. It's simply because, we're not as aggressive as we should be defensively. They're kind of reaching instead of really, running through, or going through ball carriers. And with maybe that score again, maybe that'll change our attitude a little bit more here defensively, and we'll get after them a little bit more this time.
We've got to stop Myrex on his kickoff. Larry Bucciarelli bounces it. It bounces beautifully into the end zone, and he's forgetting about covering it. And now we'll have him at the 20. Nice kick by Larry Bucciarelli.
Yeah, at least this week we're getting a little bit more leg into it, Ken, and we're getting some depth, and of course we're getting a few lucky bounces. Balls are bouncing away from people, and that's
probably what they're intending to do.
Right, that's the theory behind
that. Soccer, he wants that ball to bounce around. I see Tommy Barfly on the sideline leading the cheer for the Falcon followers over there, and they are making noise.
Yeah, well, we need them right now, Kenny. We've got to come up with 3 good defensive plays, and of course we can get some good field position again then.
Riley and Myrex behind White. In motion is Pope. It goes to Riley up the middle. He stopped after about a 2-yard gain. It's Bill Davis, and I believe that was Damian Billock.
Yeah, of course we got to
say that Donnie Hauser was in there too.
We've got to stop them now because again we got momentum on our side, and of course they're on the 20-yard line. Even with a good punt, we can get the ball somewhere around our own 40, which is great field position, and we can get ourselves maybe another quick score, and then look out. We got a whole quarter of football left.
Now if they go into their pattern, this one should be a pass.
And I think a play action too, Kenny.
And it is a play action pass. He's going to go. He's going to try to fly pattern. Number 80 is once again, Pope is wide open. And they're going to hit us with a 15-yard penalty, probably for spearing.
Oh, boy. And again, a good call there by the officials because that was an obvious late hit. And again, something we don't need at this point.
The aggression can't be after the play. We need more aggressive play beforehand. Now, he had plenty of time. He stopped our linebackers and our line with the play action, and he sat out there and just waited for Pope to come all the way from his right side across the middle, and he hit him beautifully with the pass. It's first down and 10 on the Falcons' 45-yard line, and the Falcons have got to come up with some sort of turnover.
Yeah, they give that, the wideouts too much time. They run those crossing patterns, Kenny, as you pointed out, and that's because he's getting too much time back there to throw the ball.
We come out with a wide receivers, and he's going to pop it right over the middle, and it's caught beautifully. You've got to give him credit. The ball was passed a little high, and it was caught by number 88, Gerald Pope.
Well, we got our work cut out now because they got the old offense in gear again, and they woke up the Tiger fans, and we got to come up with a big play here, whether it's a turnover, penalty, whatever, because they got things going again.
Yeah, I don't like looking over to our sideline and seeing our boys standing there now, looking dejected. We need some of that spirit to bolster this defense. A quick snap. Right up the middle goes Riley. He's hit beautifully by Mike Starry, but not until he picks up a first down.
Yeah, they got us back on our heels, Ken, and what they're doing again is getting control of that line of scrimmage, and that's a bad sign right now. We just can't, come up with the big play defensively because, the offense is putting points on the board and moving the ball, but the Tigers are too.
We're into the last minute in the third quarter. First and 10 for the Tigers on the Falcons' 20-yard line. They're in an I formation. The ball is given to Myrex. He's hit and not put down by Ron Strollo. Once again, he should have been put down for a loss. Ronnie stopped him, but he still went for another 2 yards, and he finally hit by Rich DeChalk.
And those are the plays you got to have, Kenny, to get, again, like we said, a little more enthusiasm. we're hitting people in the backfield even sometimes, but just not enough to bring them down, and they're getting through or breaking through those tackles and ending up with 2 and 3 4-yard gains when they should be, held to no gain at all.
We can't take anything away from Jerome Myrex. The kid has great balance.
Well, he's great back, Ken.
And here comes Myrex now. He stopped by, and that's the way to do it. John Kowalczyk is the first one to hit him. And then he's helped by Damian Billock.
And again, looking up at the scoreboard, at worst right now is if we can allow them as a field goal. We can give up a field goal and still be within 2 touchdowns, which isn't too bad. We just don't want to give them 7 again, because everything we've gained, then we lose right away.
Well, we've got to stop from somehow force them to kick a field goal or turnover or something, so that we can get back into this ball game. We've shown the potential, certainly, of scoring. The offense is really, really humming. The defense is just still a little confused.
And the thing, too, that surprises me, Massillon is really almost played air-free football. Offensively, they've had, I can't recall any penalties anyways, and, of course, they haven't fumbled or the ball or thrown any interceptions, so maybe the luck will run out here and we'll get something like that to happen and come up with the football again here, because, we've got to make something happen ourselves, or hopefully, they make a mistake somewhere.
Well, we're in the third quarter now. For those of you who don't know, this is Dave Hartman, our head coach. This is his territory, really. He was a graduate of the Massillon Tiger High School. And this is the 4th time we are playing the Tigers. We are 3-0 against them. And I'm sure the coach would really love to make it 4-0. But right now, the Falcon defense has got to hold them. Right now, they have to hold them because they're in the 4-down territory, and they have approximately 5 yards to go for the first down. And I'd be willing to bet that if they get it close to that first down, they'll go for it.
This looks like maybe a passing formation.
The ball is, it's a bootleg, and he may go in for the score, and he does. Eric White just faked everyone out. He gave the bootleg fake to Jerome Myrex. Everyone jumped on Myrex, and White went in unscathed.
I wasn't sure, Kenny, but I don't think I seen a guard pull, and that looked like the old naked reverse where, they've been so effective with Merrick, they just made a regular play-action fake to him and didn't bring anybody out. The linebackers probably keying the guards. We're playing run, and somebody, again, must have fallen asleep, somebody that outside contained over there, because he went in unmolested.
This reminds me of that Kent-McKinley game over at Kent, and the conversion is good. We're now at 38-21. The only problem is, at Kent, it was the last team to score would win. But unfortunately, all the scoring that we're doing now is in this second half, and we came up short in the first half, so we have too much to make up here to let them keep scoring.
And we haven't really gained anything, Kenny. We haven't gained any ground because you look up, we're still down by 17, and again, that still shocks me. I'm totally amazed because, if you'd have told me we'd have had 21 points going into the fourth quarter, I'd have sworn, we'd have been up by at least one touchdown anyway. I just didn't think anybody was going to be able to do this to our defense. Even as good as, the teams that we're going to play, Massillon and Boardman, Ursuline, we've played too good a defense up to this point.
Well, very familiar scene. One of the other team kicking off. Once again, Harris will be kicking off for the Tigers. Mike Starry, Chuck Wesson, and Derek Fletcher back to receive the kickoff for the Falcons. Once again, we have a high kick. It's a little shorter this time. Mike Starry will pick it up on the 11. He's going right up the middle. He's going to the outside, and he trips down, holds his feet somewhat, and gets it up to the 26-yard line. Once again, that slippery field. You sure they didn't grease it?
I don't know. Maybe just when we had the football. Now we just, that time, couldn't get anything going. They're doing a little bit better job, Ken, coming down and covering that kickoff return, I think, simply because they've gotten people under control. You try to get the kids, once they get within about 10 yards of the ball carrier, to kind of come to balance instead of going down like wild people. And then we've done that. Drives
of 70, 75. Now we have to try 76. Up the middle, Keith Barker. This time the number 22, the cornerback, came charging up and picking up the slack for the linebackers. So Keith Martin was stopped after a gain of about 4 yards. Well, let's make that 3.
Yeah, now we look up, Ken, we're down to 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter here, so again, being down by 17, you know, something is going to have to happen quickly here, and we're going to have to get a quick score. We can't afford to eat 8 or 9 minutes up on the clock and score because the ball game will be over.
Ronnie Strollo flexes over to the left. The ball's given to Mike Starr. He has 2 blockers in front of him, and they're going to, I think they're going to call us for a clip, and I didn't see it, but that's all I could think it could possibly be. And it is.
And hopefully, you know,
no, it's holding. All right, now I can understand that. It's possible there was holding.
Yeah, what Mike has to learn to do, Kenny, you know, he got out there, you know, and he had a blocker and a defender. He's got to learn to, you know, set him up, especially there. You know, if he'd have given a little inside move and then went back outside, he'd have given that blocker a better angle on the defensive back. But Mike just chose to bust it up back inside. And I think the blocker there, trying to do his job, reached out, and I think he did. Look like he got him around the ankle or the lower leg there.
Well, the good part about that is Mike picked up quite a bit of yardage, and the ball is taken back 10 yards from the point of the foul, so it'll give us a second down and about 8 yards to go. Turner and Starry on the wing. Turner in motion, and Mike Starry picks up the ball just before Derek Fletcher is nailed by one of the linebackers come blitzing in.
And also just before number 33, I think Riley there, Ken.
That's what it was, right?
He almost got the handoff there for the Massillon Tigers.
So the Falcons are faced with a 3rd and 5 from their 30.
And we're kind of becoming clock watchers now again because we're down to 10 minutes to go. And as we pointed out earlier, we've got to have something happen quickly here. We've got to get a quick score somehow.
Ronnie Strollo comes out. We have 2 wide receivers now. Both there on the right, Topher on the left. The pass is over the middle to Mike Starry, and I don't believe he made the first down. Mike throws the ball over the line of scrimmage to see if let's see where they're setting it. Now, I think we're going to be about a foot short.
And again, you know, a decision has to be made, Ken. We're down to 9.5 minutes. We're down by 17, and we're what, shy about a yard, you say, maybe, or less?
No, I'd say about a foot.
So, I don't know, pretty tough position to be in. You know, we punt the ball away, and for us to get any kind of a drive going, you know, and the clock's gone, and, you know, we just have too much to make up, and I wouldn't doubt it if we don't make it, we're going to have to go for it.
Let's talk about 2 inches. We're going to have to go for it. I can't believe that we're not, only because of the score and not because of the time. We need this first down. And in comes Ron Strollo back in his tight end position.
Now again, what do you call? You know, I guess a lot of people, they think the obvious thing is the quarterback sneak, but
I'll tell you, this Riley is no slouch as a nose man. And it's Mike Starry. And he goes over, he picks up 10 yards. If he could have just held his feet, it would have been a lot more than the 10 yards. Once again, those short yardage situations, if you bust through, you have an open field.
Yeah, and again, Mike, you know, you can see, you know, or understand anyways what happened there. You know, I know he knows he needs that short yardage. He's got that shoulder and head down, you know, and he's going to try and get that yard, you know, if he can. And then all of a sudden he finds daylight, and really his balance, he was just off balance. He had a little bit too much forward lean. And, well, I tell you, if he'd have come to balance, he could have broken that all the way.
It's on the 45. Derek Fletcher going to the right. He stops, and he turns and goes upfield, and he's going to get about 14 or 15 yards and a first down. Very smart play by Derek Fletcher. And I'll tell you, Derek Fletcher is no lumbering Lummox. He's fleet of foot.
No, he's got good feet, Kenny. He's got some quickness, and this, I think, is why, the personnel change was made. Because last year, if you recall, Eric Luckage come up with some pretty big plays for us. We, again, we probably try to run more out of that bootleg type action than we do throw, and you got to have somebody with some quick feet.
Keith Motter trying to find a hole. There's none there. He still picks up about a yard before he's hit by a host of the Tiger linemen.
And we'll try and keep an eye on the clock again. We're down to 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. And again, I think now probably Dave's going to start thinking more pass than maybe run, because the clock is slowly fading away on us here.
And we do have a few points to make up here. All right, wide is Ron Tofield. Here comes the flex with Eric McMahon to the right. And Mike Starry, who has a clear field, he cuts back up inside, takes it down to about the 27-yard line, and it'll be a first down for the Falcons.
Again, a good pickup. But I'm sure, Massillon, again, is probably thinking more, trying not to let us, get that quick score, the deep one. So, they're loosened up a little bit, and probably, I know they don't want to give us that much yardage, in big chunks like that, but still, they're still trying to defensively think about preventing us from getting a quick score.
John Duran's over the ball. We are at our double wing. In motion is Turner. There comes the boot. And Derek Fletcher will hold on to the ball. They'll follow down to the 10, the 12-yard line. It'll be another first down for the Falcons.
And that's probably as effective as a pass. That Derek did a nice job of getting out of bounds. He could have turned it back up inside, maybe picked up a couple more yards, but very wisely chose to go out of bounds and stop the clock.
So we're down to 7:17 in the game. The Falcons have it first and 10 on their 11-yard line.
And what you got to do now, Kenny, as a coach, you have to take for granted, I guess, that we're going to score. You got to start thinking ahead again. We're probably going to try an onside kick, and then what are we going to do, if we get the onside kick? So we're actually still thinking ahead even a little bit. You should be.
Mike Starry trying to cut back inside, trips over our own men. Another flag is thrown, and I don't know what this is all about, but Eric McMahon is hurt. Oh, wait a minute. It's holding again against the Falcons. Now, this one will hurt, because now we're going to move back to 10 yards from the 11 to the 21.
Yeah, now it almost forces us to put the ball up in the air because, we needed a first down before. Now we're in a situation where not only do we need a first down, we can still get one if we get the ball inside the one, but we got to get a score here real quick.
I was going to say we got a benefit of the spot, but keeping in mind that it's from the point of the foul, it's now first and 19 from the 20-yard line. Mike Starry through the middle, tries to keep his feet, brings it down to about the 14-yard line.
And I know, some people may want to second guess, but still, the thing is, they're probably, like we are, thinking pass. And sometimes that little quick trap up inside when you get the defense loosened up, can be just as effective. And again, Mike was only probably one block away from maybe breaking that one all the way for a score.
Well, we're now down to 6.5 minutes from the 14-yard line. We're in, and we go. Derek Fletcher goes straight back. He should have hit. He should have hit. I believe it was.
Is it number 40? I think, Ken.
I believe it was. It was Keith Motter.
Keith Motter,
who was wide open, but he, for some reason, he simply did not see him. And at that point, he had to hold on to the ball and try to go as far as he could, and he got into about the 9-yard line, 8-yard line.
And Derek's kind of short in stature, I think, Kenny, and sometimes maybe that might be a problem. We're looking down on the field and can see things quite clearly, whereas maybe he had to look around or over one of those tall linemen rushing him.
Here we go again. Motter is going over. He's looking for somebody, and he's going to go out of bounds. Mike Starry got into the end zone, but there were at least 4 or 5 people in front of him. He chose to go to the short side of the field, and everyone came running from the long side to the short side to receive, and everything got bottled up. Now
we had
we're in a 4th down situation.
A lot of receivers in one area, Kenny, and it, of course, attracted a lot more defensive people. And now we're do or die now. We either complete this one or load the bus up, I guess.
Derek Fletcher. A lot of time. He's going to fire it into the end zone for a touchdown to Rob Tofield. And that was a good move by Fletcher. He took 2 steps forward. The defender thought for a second that he may run, and he took 2 steps forward, and he rifled it to Rob Tofield.
Yeah, it had to be an almost obvious pass, Kenny, because there wasn't much really room to run down there, and he had to get all the way down to the 1-yard line, and really, as we said, it had to really score a touchdown. And what happened there that helped that play a little bit, the defensive back came up to make the interception or knock it down and kind of slipped a little bit, and of course Derek, as you pointed out, zipped that one, and that was what made it go, made the completion.
We're going for the 1-point conversion. All kind of flags. That'll move the ball up, and we'll see if the coach is going to go for 2.
And again, I still can't believe that scoreboard. Every time I look up there, and we've got 27 points up there.
We're losing.
We got to score 2 more times to win the football game.
And here comes the 2-point conversion. Derek is getting the word. Here comes Mike Starry. And they better hurry.
And again, Kenny, you can go all the way back to that situation there where we didn't convert that extra point, that block kick, because now we get the 2 here. That makes it 29. If we would have converted that extra point, even the 1 point, that makes it 30. We can actually, could have actually tied the football game and went into overtime. But now, it makes us have to score twice instead of only once.
John Kowalczyk behind Derek Fletcher. It's to Mike Starry. He dives in, and he makes it. He broke that plane, and we had that 2-point conversion.
Well, I tell you what, Kenny, I don't think anybody's going to go home tonight and say they didn't see a great football game. I can remember when I was standing down there waiting while you were out finding Mr. Behringer there, with his tickets. There was a gentleman that had a Massillon jacket on. I couldn't believe actually what he said, the statement he made. Somebody said something about why I hope we beat him by 3 or 4 touchdowns or whatever, and this guy said, hey, I don't really care. He said, I'm just here to see a great football game. He said, I hope it's a good game. I don't care who wins. And that kind of shocked me, and I'm sure this guy is going to go home, quite happy tonight, because we have seen a great football game, a great offensive display anyway.
It is exciting. No one could say this game is boring. So we're now down by that magical number.
And we need at least 2 scores, regardless of how you look at it. Even a safety, Kenny, now we could get 7 and a safety to tie, or we get 8 and a field goal to win, but we've got to get 2 scores somehow.
In 5.5 minutes. Let's see what Larry Fletcher really does. Is he going to... Yes, it's an onside. It's an onside. It bounces in the air. And it looked good for a second there. The Tigers did cover it on the 45. Now the defense has to really stop it right now. And Waters getting up and a little shaken up on the play.
And you hope that second bounce is a high one, Kenny, and it didn't happen. It's flattened out, and of course that made it a little easier. You like to see that ball hit the ground and they take a real high hop, and then you've got time to get some people down and bat the ball around a little bit or whatever, and you got a chance to recover it. But when he usually does that, they usually come up with it. It just flattened out. We didn't get that big hop.
Doug Wilhelm was the one who kicked that, and it did. It looked like it was going to bounce high, and it not high enough. All right. The tight end who came in late moved on the play. And it should be a procedure penalty against the Tigers. They call it offside, but it is against the Tigers.
And I always think of those kickoffs. I thought we always had a very appropriate name for those. We used to call them the lucky kick, and really that's what it boils down to. There's a lot of luck involved there. You know, you have to hope that you get a couple lucky bounces and a break or two here, and first we didn't get it, so now we got to do the job defensively here. We got to stuff them right now and hopefully maybe block a punt.
They have a single back. That's Myrex. They pitch it to him, and he just flies over here to the left. And he gets through the first block, brings it all the way down to the 50-yard line.
And what they did there, they tried to just get him deep and give him room to read. And, of course, didn't have to do too much reading. He got him out there around the corner, and, of course, he's just like a locomotive tonight, Ken. He's got some great speed, and, boy, he just seems to run through tackles without much difficulty.
We've got to stop him. It's 4:18 and counting down. We have 3 timeouts. It's not going to help us needing 2 scores unless we can stop him here. Myrex, and he's stopped by John Kowalczyk. And Kowalczyk that time wrapped his arms around him, and he was not going to let him go.
He got that Hellman shoulder in there and stood him up that time, Kenny. What we've been doing, a lot of our tackles, you know, we've been maybe ducking a little bit and just reaching with those arms, and you know, a guy like that you just don't bring down. You got to get in there, you know, put your nose in there, and at least break his momentum anyways, and give some other people time to come and help out.
It's 3rd and 3 on our 47. Now they have a stack guy, and they're going to give it to, they gave it to Myrex, and he just made it over for the first down.
Yeah, they went to a power eye that time, Ken, and they told us what they were going to do, and of course we did what we had to do. We brought that linebacker and tried to meet the, you know, they usually try to isolate with a double team with the lead back and the fullback, but again, they got a good job of execution up front, and Merrick again just ran through some people.
We're down to less than 3 minutes. And once again, it's Myrex. This time he's knocked down by Don Hauser and Dave Cooper and Ron Strollo. The coaches are upset about something. They're out of the field screaming.
Yeah, now we're getting to a point where we almost have to start using those timeouts, Ken. You know, we're getting down to 2.5 minutes here left in the ball game, and of course, I think now if we put them in a 3rd and long situation here, we may use one of those timeouts.
Once again, we're at the power eye, but this time Myrex goes in motion, and it's given to Riley. No, it isn't. It's once again, it's White keeping the ball. He's hit by John Kowalczyk, and there's another Falcon there somewhere. I'm not sure who it was, but they knocked him out of bounds about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards away from the first down. So now it's an important 3rd down play.
And what they did there, again, they used Merrick as a decoy. And it was similar to what they did down there on the about 10 or 12-yard line when they ran that quarterback bootleg, Kenny. This time they just ran him in motion, and again, you know, a lot of our defense was focused on him, and they just ran again a naked bootleg there, and White almost picked up the first down.
They stopped the clock with him going out of bounds. Now it's Myrex who barrels through for the first down. And stopped by John Kowalczyk. And who's there coming up behind him is, I'm not sure, let's check that number. It was Rich Turner, but unfortunately it was about 1 yard too late.
Yeah, what's happening there is they're actually, you know, the running back is getting all the way to our linebackers, you know, 2 and 3 yards into the secondary, and of course when you only need 3 and 4 yards, you know, he just more or less lunges for that extra yard, and we just didn't have the effort there that we needed to stop him there and keep him from getting the first down.
Power eye, he's booting, he's going to bootleg, and he's caught in the backfield. Nice play. And I believe that was Derek Fletcher, and it was. And McMahon and Billock and Fitzpatrick were all in there also.
I don't think the Massillon coaches were too happy with the referee there, Ken, because they let their quarterback take a beating there. He was kind of wrapped up by the ankle, boy, and about 3 or 4 of our guys got a pretty good shot in on him.
So now it's 2nd and 18 on the 38-yard line, but we're now down to less than a minute.
And our hopes are slowly fading now, Ken. This difficult situation, needless to say.
This time, Eric McMahon meets Jerome Myrick's head-on and puts him down. And they're waiting to call timeout.
And there's the effort that we needed earlier in the ball game several times, Kenny, because we were in the same situation where we had people getting penetration, but they didn't hit and wrap like Eric did there. And I think if we'd have had that kind of effort a few other times in the ball game, the score may have been a little bit different.
Well, it looks like the Falcons are going to come up short here. And that first quarter and the second quarter, obviously the whole first half, not being able to stop them with those long breakaways and so on, really hurt us, because in the second half, the Falcons certainly were moving the ball. And if it would have been a little bit more even, we could have held that ball a lot longer.
Yeah, if we'd just played a little bit better defensively, Ken, I think the outcome of this game would have been a little bit different. We really had an outstanding effort by our offense, but our defense just not that they played that poorly. It's just that they didn't come up with the effort that we've seen in the first 4 ball games. And of course, you have to give Massillon a lot of credit, and especially Merrick, because he's been as good, if not better, than anybody we've seen so far this year. He's just a very outstanding running back, and he's strong.
And he's not in there.
Maybe he's tired.
He's tired. This is Martin, but they give it to Riley. All they're doing is running to kill the clock, because we're down now to 34 seconds, and again the Falcons take a timeout. It's 4th down.
And they're going to probably keep the ball inside the ends, Kenny, in case they do fumble. Then they've got people there, that can help in case one of our kids pick up a loose ball. He's in congestion there. You run something wide outside and somebody loses the handle on the ball. Somebody can quite easily just pick it up out in the open field, and there's nobody there to stop them. So you won't see him, I don't think, run outside the tackles.
Okay, we're going to lose the game. But the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of bright spots that came out of this. It's obvious that we can move the football. The offense have come alive. We are going to go into the game against Ursuline with a record of 2-3, but we have 5 games left to go, and the season could be easily salvaged by winning those games. We were worried about the offense. Obviously now we're going to have to worry a little bit more about the defense. And I'm not sure what Ursuline has.
Well, they have a guy named Lynch.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see a different kind of an offense and football game next weekend. We're going to see probably something similar to Cheney with Reynolds, because Clinton can fly. And you're going to see some options and some pitches and that type of thing, and we're going to have a little bit more quickness, whereas tonight, the power-type football kind of, took its toll on us. But next week, I'm sure we're going to see a different type of offense, and we're going to have a little bit more quickness next week. And whereas tonight, I think tonight lacked a little bit of that strength. We weren't able to sit in there and go nose to nose with them when we had to.
I don't know what's going on, but they just threw the flag. The coach from Massillon is on the field. They want the clock to start, but the clock did not start, and now they got a 5-yard penalty. They're going to bring in the kicking team to put the Falcons deeper in the hole if they can. This could backfire.
Yeah, in a way, Kenny. There's 2 ways of looking at it. Myself, I don't know, sometimes you just like to get under center and run the play and run some clock off, and at least we're going to take the ball over on the 40-yard line. Now we've got an opportunity maybe to block the punt and come up with the block punt and maybe take it in for a score. So, again, there's, like I said, 2 ways of looking at it, and not to say anybody's right or wrong.
And we're coming after it, but the kick is up. And I believe this is their first punt of the evening, and it's going to sit right on the 20-yard line.
And I think really what that goes back to is what I pointed out at the beginning of the half game, field position. It's not that, I don't think they've put together too many 70 and 80-yard drives. They've always had the ball somewhere around midfield, so they didn't have to punt.
You scored 2 touchdowns in 23 seconds. Be a little tough.
Yeah, this isn't like pro ball. They'd be lucky if we get maybe 2 football plays off, Kenny. The clock moves pretty quick, and they don't execute quite as well.
Derek Fletcher's back to pass. He's running, and he stopped, and that should just about, well, we called timeout, and we ran off 8 seconds on that.
And I'm sure, looking up at the score again, nothing to be embarrassed about. The kids played a good football game. Of course, we did hurt ourselves on occasions, with turnovers, but the bright spot, I guess, or positive thing is the fact that we didn't quit. We were down and out. It looked like, that, they were just going to blow us out of here, and we just kept coming back, and, again, we got the Steel Valley to look forward to in some big games, and again, I think some bright spots, a lot of positive things still can be gotten out of this football game, even though it may come out on the, we're going to come out on the short end.
I think that's going to be an important factor. The coaching staff is going to have that make that point very strongly with the team. I'm sure they'll be dejected initially because of the score, but there are bright spots from this, and we do have a lot of season. This is only the midpoint of the season, and we have that Steel Valley. We lost 1 game in the Steel Valley. You win the other 3, chances are someone.
Oh yeah, it's hard to go through undefeated, even though there's only 4 teams. There's a lot of balance and good football teams.
And we're going to go right up the middle to Mike Starry. Goes off to the outside and brings it down to the 40-yard line. And they're going to stop the clock with 4 seconds left. And the Falcons are getting ready to snap the ball, but they don't have a ball to snap. They're all set.
No,
the officials can't hold on to the ball.
That's that grease again.
There it is. There's
snap.
He started the clock 2-1, the last play.
That's it.
But that's the end of the game. The final score, the Massillon Tigers 38 and our Fitch Falcons 29. But it was a whale of a second half.
That's a great football game, Kenny, especially as you point out the second half. And just a little better effort defensively, I think, we could have come out on top. But again, nothing to be embarrassed about or ashamed of. And of course, I think the coaches will stress that point, as you pointed out, when they get into the locker room and back home again on Monday.
Well, we'll be going down to the YSU Stadium next week to take on the Ursuline Irish. All of you are reminded to pick up your tickets on Wednesday and Thursday at our ticket booth for that game. I'd like to see a lot of Falcons down at YSU Stadium. We need all the spirit we can gather for the Ursuline Irish. Once again, this is a production of the Austintown Fitch High School television production class on Channel 19 from Armstrong, brought to you by Camaro Jewelers and the Robert Senn Studios. And we thank those 2 fine establishments. And obviously we thank the Austintown school system and the Austintown School Board